one more big score, we got enough money to leave. What do you think?
Nothing means more to me than this game. I would kill for it. I would happily die for it.
I wish things were different.
But it weren't us who changed.
Trust me, Arthur. Just one more.
There's always a goddamn traitor.
I don't want to kill all these food, Dutch. Just you.
What about loyalty?
Loyal to what matters.
Do as you're goddamn told.
It is us or him.
Red Dead Redemption 2, coming October 26th, rated M for mature.
Hey, what's up everybody? I'm your host John Scott, joined by my co-host Matt Essex, and you are listening to rdrview podcast. So if you're coming across this probably for the first time, obviously it's our first episode. You might well know us from our WrestleLine podcast that we do more often, our more consistent show. But we are talking all things Red Dead Redemption 2, of course, due to be released this coming week. Very, very excited for the game. Been a long time waiting, and probably I'm the most excited I've been for a game release since Zelda Breath of the Wild. And believe me, I that took quite a while to come out as well. But the end results, it was like definitely worth the wait. I'm going to bring in my co-host now, Matt Essex. And Matt, I know that you, much like me, are anticipating, and pretty much like everybody else, I'm guessing, the launch of this game. You, of course, as well, you've played Zelda Breath of the Wild as well. I know you got involved in that game, probably due to me and my kind of raving about the whole thing. But when these games and titles come along, Matt, normally the wait is often worth it when it finally does come out. There's been very few games, I think, that when they kind of take all this time to do it, when it finally does get released, that it's not a success. So Rockstar definitely took their time. 8 years later since the last Red Dead game. Matt, how hyped and pumped are you for the release of Red Dead Redemption 2?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely very excited for this game. I mean, it's going to be a great game. We know that much for sure. And just a ton of stuff you see in a 5-minute trailer. Just the sheer amount they can pack into 5 minutes. Wow, it blows you away. And I don't know where it says about games these days, but I'm waiting for big games like this, because when they release and when you start playing them, just like you said about Zelda, I just find like I'm stuck in this world and I'm there for at least 50, 60 hours, 100 hours, even 200 hours, and it just makes it feel like you've got no time to play anything else sometimes. These games are just so vast.
Yeah, the open world certainly does take things to a new level in the gameplay experience. I mean, let's just start with the beginning here about the podcast itself and what we're doing. Basically, this is going to be like a sister show to our YouTube video channel, basically, that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to have gameplay videos on there. I'm also going to have I'm going to be doing the opening of the collector's box when I finally get my hands on that on probably Friday, and I'll upload that as well, so I can share with you guys all the collectibles and some of the stuff that I've already got, some of the stuff that I'm thinking of getting, and I'll go through the merchandise of it all, because I am a little bit of a collector. I'm definitely a collector of anything sort of Nintendo, mainly Zelda, if I'm honest, but also Red Dead Redemption. The last time the game came out, I still have quite a lot of collectibles from that, but I will say that Rockstar have done a very, very good job of marketing this game. They have been so patient a little bit as well. They've held off a lot of the stuff, and I think they've done it very timely, the way they've put out these videos, those 2 gameplay videos. They didn't rush them out. They got people talking about them. The trailers, yeah, there's been few. I know a lot of people have been saying, there should be more. We want to see more, but I think sometimes less is more. And you there's so many YouTubers out there now that literally will break each single frame down to try and tell you what that might be in the story, which just goes to show you how much interest there is on this game. So like I say, this is the sister show to it, and again, our YouTube show totally different to this, so it's like a completely different experience. Obviously it's visual as well, but we won't be covering the same things that we do on this podcast, so it's going to be like a totally different thing. So encourage you to go ahead and check us out on our YouTube channel, which is under RDR view. That's RDR view, not review but view. So you can check us out, hit the subscribe button. Really welcome all your support. Not only that, if you want to get in touch with us, feel free to. You can email us rdrview@gmail.com. So any questions, anything you want to put in. And if that's not enough, special thing here, I'm giving away 2 t-shirts, official Rockstar Red Dead Redemption t-shirts. One's red, one's black. It's the Outlaws for Life t-shirts. And to be in with a chance of getting this great prize, doesn't matter where you are, I'll send it no matter where you are. All you have to do is go on our Facebook page, like our page. It's under Outlaw. So if you go onto our Facebook page, you'll see Outlaw. It's got the same logo as what you are listening to here and also on our YouTube channel. So that's how you'll know it's us. Plus, I would have already posted this podcast on there anyway, so you'll know it's our podcast that you're listening to. So all you have to do to be in with a chance of getting your hands on these great items, literally go onto the Facebook page, type in Outlaw, and you have a chance. And I'll be giving them away the following week. So encourage everybody to get in on that. Matt, I thought what we'd do is we'd start with some of the kind of crazy facts about this game that have been already that we kind of know, because some of the stuff, Matt, on this game is going to be very unique. I do, from what I've been reading about, Matt, that most people that have played the game for up to 60 minutes or beyond have all kind of said similar things around experiences being very, very close to things like Zelda, believe it or not. And what's interesting about it is a lot of the people that were reviewing weren't really your typical Nintendo Zelda like game players. So a lot of them had never experienced the latest Breath of the Wild game, so it was hard for them to kind of like relate the game back. But for people that did, they kind of saw quite similarities in terms of the open world, where you'll get one character end up further in as the story goes, like in a completely different location, who's not kind of part of the main story, but you recognise him, which I think is quite a unique thing. And I know in this game, in Red Dead, that is definitely a big thing. But let's start with some of the facts here then, Matt, like some of the fun facts that we can go. Now, obviously, the main character you're going to play as is Arthur Morgan. Matt, first of all, like before we go into a couple of these facts here, Arthur Morgan, a lot of people, like when this game was being produced and everything, there was a lot of for a long time we always knew it was going to be a backstory. We knew it was going to be like a prologue to the main game, but like prequels, sometimes you think, wow, it's got to be the same character, John Marston. Obviously, was you slightly surprised that they like went with something a little bit different? We know John Marston's in it, a lot younger, and it's about the gang he spoke about in quite heavy detail in the original game. But in this one, you play as Arthur Morgan. Were you surprised that he is like, that's the character we're playing as? And how do you feel about that? And is that better? Is that good for you? I mean, how do you feel about that? Is that not so good? Did you want to be John Marston again? What do you think about that?
Well, of course, John Marston's like one of those characters that people connect with, and people played a long time with him in the previous games, so you're going to have that connection to the guy. So it's good that he's in the game, but the way that Rockstar does it and their kind of style is that they like to go a different direction with each game, and it's like the GTA games. Returning characters may be a thing, but you usually playing from a different perspective each time a new kind of one comes out in the series, and it's not such a bad thing because it gives you a fresh start, so to speak. You can play your character a different way. I mean, a lot of people came out there and they might have had the honourable Marsden or they might have had the dishonourable one, but now you can start the whole thing with a clean slate and create your own path again.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm also looking forward to seeing John Marston again. From what I've been reading about, it's kind of like they've the John Marston. By the way, I know a lot of people were like, "Is he still voiced by the same guy?" Yes, he is. It's the same voice actor as the last game, which is kind of cool. However, from what I've been reading, expect a very different, inexperienced John Marston in this one. He's not quite as at his prime as he sort of becomes, obviously in the original Red Dead Redemption game. He's probably going to be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more immature in his ways, because I think like the thing about playing as him in the last game was like he was very sort of, strong-willed, and they played like the acting like that, like the voice acting like that, like he was pretty confident most times. But I think in this one you might see like him at his kind of times where he's the one asking for advice and you're kind of giving that to him to shape him a little bit. I would expect a lot of that in this game. Now I want to just go through a few facts here, Matt, and as we go through we might just like pick up a few things that maybe stick out to us. But number one, and these are facts just coming out of anywhere, by the way, they're not, we're not going to do them in any order. This is just something I've literally been putting all together. So Arthur's facial hair grows in the game real time, and the options of styling depends on how long it's gotten, just like facial hair in real life. Now these small details, Matt, I mean, they do, for me, these make up what is going to essentially be a great experience. Now for some game players, they might look at this and think, why do I need to be doing this? Like, I've got better things to do. I just want to move on with the game, which, from what I've been told, the good thing is about the whole feeding and washing and all this, don't expect it to be like a sim. Okay, you're not gonna, what they were saying was, it's not gonna be to the point where you can't move with the game flowing. It's not like they're just gonna suddenly make you always go to those things and you've got to fill like each tank up or each bar up to get to a certain bit. From what I've been reading, it's all come quite in, been very rhythm with the game, so they've not kind of made it to the point where it stops the player from like enjoying the experience because, I don't know, he's got to like suddenly eat, otherwise he's just going to collapse and die. It's not going to be like that at all from what I've read, so that's a good thing to begin with. But going back to just the facial hair, Matt, I mean, listen, I'm a guy with facial hair. You can't see that right now, but I'm trying to think like other games. Yeah, they kind of do that now. Rockstar did this. The nearest thing I can think to these things, Matt, was San Andreas, where there was a lot like the whole, you could beef your guy up if he goes to the gym. You could do his hair. I think there was a thing about gaining weight. I'm not sure with that, but they tried it there, and I think it got mixed reviews, Matt, because they didn't feel like the game was flowing enough, and it was kind of sometimes where you'd have to just stop and go and take a detour to go and sort yourself out before you could kind of move on. And I think that kind of it sort of had a mixture of reviews about it. Like for me, I felt the same way. I felt like it probably wasn't flowing enough for my liking, but I liked the idea and the concept, and I'm kind of glad they've gone back to that now and like looked at that more in this whole thing. For you, Matt, is that something as a game player like for